How long is it normally?
45.
45?
Yes, and it's actually live now.
Oh.
That was quick, wasn't it?
It's fun.
Yes. Okay. We're gonna wait for a couple people to tune in. They should be coming on in a few. I'm gonna share it.
Okay. I am following your lead.
Okay. Well, everyone, want you to welcome the GOAT, the amazing, beautiful Nikki Woods. She is the former executive producer of Tom Joyner Morning Show. She has also the 6-time best-selling author, and she's been featured on CNN, Huffington Post, Enterprise, CBS, everything, you name it. She is just amazing. Hey, Nikki.
Hey, Beth, how are you?
I'm good.
That's good.
How's your day going?
It's going well. I mean, it's been obviously a very trying time, in a lot of different ways. And so, with that in mind, it's just surreal, just everything that has happened. But I think that in these times, it's when you either you pivot or you pause or you panic. But, most of us, I think that, are considered leaders or, want to be successful. We know that even in the tough times, you have to continue to push through. And focus on the good things. And so that's what I've been trying to do in this. And, it's just horrible what's going on right now.
I know it and in so many ways too. It can help you think of different ways to live your life as far as eating healthy, exercising, reading, meditating. It just have you just creating a whole new life for yourself for the better.
No, absolutely. I mean, I have done like a complete audit of my business. Like I know more about my business now than I ever have. It's like people are sick of me. They're like, just let us do our jobs. You don't have to go
right.
It's been perfect, just like you said, for training, learning new things. I planted a garden. My son took up, that bow archery. I mean, it's like we're doing all sorts of things that, we would have never thought to do.
I know. It's so it's a good outcome, but we gotta eliminate the negative vibes that's going on and try to live our day-to-day life with such positive and use our affirmations daily just to keep us going.
Daily. It's like they're going through my mind before I even like open my eyes good in the morning. It's like, since I've become an entrepreneur, I think one of the most important things for me is to realize just like how important mindset is. It's like the world, just like, it feels now like sometimes the world is falling apart, but, if you focus on that, then it really does feel like that. But if you might possibly be able to come up with solutions to help, what's going on. So
yes. So what is a few solutions as far as you just keep going and just having faith, and like how important having faith is to you?
Oh, it's everything. I thought that I was a strong, I had a strong mindset, strong faith. But when I became an entrepreneur, when it really hits you, I think it just changes the whole game. I don't care how successful you are, but if you're an employee, even on the highest level, you still gonna get a paycheck every week. You don't have to worry about it. So even though you might have different challenges, but when you become an entrepreneur, it really is just you and whoever it is that you believe in. And so it really tests your faith, I think, in different ways. So every day it's like I'm working on the mindset. I'm working on being grateful for whatever, what I have. I'm focused on giving back. I saw this great thing on Facebook today where somebody posted, today I'm going to replace sadness with service.
Nice.
And so it's just remembering those things, like what can you do to help somebody else out? How can you help your neighbor? How can you, help, mentor somebody? How can you have a conversation like you're having that may change somebody's life? There's so many things that you can do to reinforce the goodness that, that we have despite everything that's going on. Still remember that at the bottom line, we're all responsible for each other. can do what we can in our lanes to try to make it better.
Yes, and definitely just having that positive mindset and just keeping everything clear, and it helps a lot. Besides, like with your surroundings and people who you're around and everything, make sure those negative vibes aren't there, and everybody is uplifting each other.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, they say that you are an average of like your 5 closest friends. And so if, they're all negative or if they're all, not doing anything with their lives, I mean, that's a reflection on you that you choose to be with that energy. But no, absolutely. Learning to say no, and especially during this time, I think that I've never seen such a focus on self-care and taking a day off. So many Black people I know like took Friday off last week because they did not have these conversations, those hard conversations, with colleagues that might not necessarily understand why everybody is so upset about the George Floyd and why people are protesting. And unfortunately, obviously some of that went wrong, but why we still feel all of this anger.
Yes.
And I saw, I think it was my friend Abiola, but I think it was Abiola that posted on her page, like, people think we're upset about George, but we're still mourning Emmett Till. Like, we're still trying to get over that. So it's just like this one thing on top of the other, and it's like we just have all of this sadness and frustration and so
and I don't think people really realize that. And also, like, how we did the blackout yesterday. Mm-hmm. It was like some people were just really angry because they took a loss financially just for one day. But it's like we're trying to serve a purpose. We're trying to let our voices be heard finally.
I didn't see any of that. Like, I didn't see any anger. I mean, and some of it is like, okay, we're going to be politically correct and we're going to support the Black folks because we want them to still shop here.
Right.
Even like Target, with the looting and having to lay them off, Target came out like, this is too important for us to worry about, a monetary loss. We'll still take care of our employees. We understand the frustration. I mean, there is so many. I logged on to Amazon and it's like Black Lives Matter. And I'm just like,
yes.
Everybody is showing that support. But what really has impressed me as I've watched people who, may not be of color and may not understand is that they're putting their dollars. Like, they're not just saying we're with you, they're like donating dollars to Black Lives Matter. Yes. And they're actually, their community. I mean, that's when you're like, that there's change that's going to come when people realize that it's not about just saying I support you, but it's really that action right to it. So
yes, I was so excited to see how when I always listening to my Apple Music and how Apple just paid homage and just had a whole playlist. And I thought that was just so dope because I'm like, man, this is really powerful. We finally seeing everyone come together and have an understanding of what the African American community go through on a daily basis for so many years.
Yeah. It's a hard conversation. Like, I have 2 sons, 18 and 17, and every time they walk out the door, I'm just like, you want to hold them back, but you can't. And so then you have to have those hard conversations about, somebody may not like you just because of the color of your skin. The police may stop you. And like, what does that look like if that happens? Like, everybody's like, well, they don't have a right to do this. And I'm like, look, just live through it. That's all I need you to do. I don't care if you go to jail. I don't care. You just got to live through it and then we'll figure it out. So it's just a tough time. It's like, I don't remember having to face so many, real serious issues at my children's age. So it's been a really interesting time.
Yes, it definitely has. So tell me a little bit about your personal life as far as your childhood and your upbringing.
My personal life? Is that what you said?
Yes, girl. Everybody got to get to know you.
Well, okay.
Your childhood and how your upbringing was.
So I had, what is interesting? I had a great childhood.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is a blessing. I had a great childhood. I have one older sister. I grew up in a small suburb outside of St. Louis. Just very small, quiet, calm community. My dad was mayor of the city for a while we lived there. My mom's from Jamaica. My dad is from Well, he was born in St. Louis, but I think his family's from Mississippi or something like that. And it just was great. We traveled every summer. We went to Jamaica once a year. I mean, it was a great childhood.
That's good.
Yeah, and then when I graduated from high school, I went to Howard University for my first degree, studied education, taught school for a while, hated it. And then decided to, it's like, I'm like, God bless the teachers, because man, I was just like, I'm not going to be able to do this. Love kids, but it was just, I don't think people realize how political like teaching is. Like, you got to deal with the school board and the principals and the parents. It's like
a whole bunch of personalities.
Oh my God, the kids are the least of the problem. It's like you want to go to school to teach because you love the kids, and then you're dealing with all these other crazy figures. So I went back to school and got a degree in broadcast journalism, and I went to work.
All right. So what was your first experience? Was it Tom Joyner or something before that?
Oh God, no. No, I started out in TV sports.
Okay.
So, local TV news, sports news. And then I worked at ESPN for a little bit. And then it just was not me. TV was not me. I was very independent, a very strong-willed person. And so for somebody to tell me that they didn't like the way my hair looked, it looked too ethnic or something like that,
right,
didn't sit well with me. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's still hard. But when I was in TV, I mean, it was even, more. I remember, do you know who Tamron Hall is?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, she's like she has her own talk show, nationally syndicated.
Oh, I do know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, so we were in Chicago together, and she was doing news and I was doing radio, and we used to do some television stuff together. And they just they couldn't do our hair. That's why her hair was always short. She cut her hair because they couldn't find the right hairdresser to fix your hair, and the makeup was crazy, so we both had to learn how to do our own makeup so we weren't looking crazy going on TV. I mean, it was just a really hard time. Yeah, so it's like a lot of, you had to fight through a lot of barriers, and still like a male dominated. So it was just interesting.
And that's what I was getting ready to ask you. Is it so male dominated? Would you just, do they give women a hard time?
Oh God,
behind the scenes, and do they go based upon like color? If you dark skin, light skin, do they do that also?
Well, I don't know if they do that so much in TV anymore, but even in radio, I think it was interesting because you're always like, it's radio, nobody cares what you look like. But every single job I applied for in radio, they ask you for a headshot. So it's like, okay, it's a very visual, it's entertainment. And so while I do think that there's probably some discrimination still, I think that part of it has gotten better. But it'd be hard to be dark skinned and show up with an afro. Like, you couldn't do a lot of it all at once. Now I think it's a little bit better. But a friend of mine in Boston had called and was like, why don't you come in and sit in and do this radio show with me, while you're on vacation. I was on vacation from ESPN. And I went and I sat in and I absolutely fell in love with it. Like, absolutely fell in love with radio. And I was there pretty much, that was it. So I was in Boston for a year. I quit ESPN, went to Boston and did radio. Then I was in Chicago for 10 years before I got to Dallas for Tom.
Oh, wow. You was moving. So how is it working with women? Because, sometimes it's hard for women to work together, come together. And
stop it. Don't even put that out there. It wasn't difficult, but I think the challenging thing about like TV or radio is, you don't just have extra jobs laying around. It's not like you can have like just 5 people doing something. I mean, for me to get a job, somebody has to lose a job, and normally it's going to be another woman. So I don't know if in the business it's that women don't like each other. I mean, I've had a great experience with the women that I've come to deal with, like Sybil and Tamron and Bonnie DeShung from Chicago, Jean Spare. I mean, there's a ton of phenomenal women.
That's cool.
But it's hard because you kind of like, okay, I got to watch my job and try to be friends with you at the same time. So it's difficult. But I think most times when you get to a certain level in your career, you realize that it's really not a person that can take that job from you.
Right.
And sometimes if they can, it's no longer your job anymore. And so you just have to be very cognizant, because I think that energy, affects all areas of your life, because it really is just a scarcity mindset. You're just so afraid you're going to lose something that you can't open yourself up. And I think eventually that'll affect other areas of your life. So I think I think women have gotten a bad rap. I think that we can work together.
Yes, I believe we can too. But I think it also comes from us finding ourselves and loving ourselves and, just figuring out our path to a point we won't have to be focused on the next woman, on the things that she's doing.
No, absolutely. And somebody else's shine doesn't diminish mine.
Right.
It's like I tell people all the time, it's like we may do the exact same thing, but you will never be able to do it like me, and I will never be able to do it like you.
Yeah.
But when we're so busy emulating people, it's like, you're right, we have lost who we are. We don't know ourselves, and that, automatically brings on like a lack of self-confidence that makes that jealousy, that infighting, makes it more prevalent. But that just goes back to what you said before. You have got to be in a friendship, in a relationship, with people who are like-minded and have the same energy.
Yes, definitely. So how did you map out your day-to-day dealing with positivity and negativity? How did you separate the two on your day-to-day basis?
Some days I didn't. I'll be quite honest. Some days it's harder than others. But I think that it just goes back to that mindset. I mean, the first thing I do every single day is, just picture what a successful day is going to look like. I already know like what kind of meetings I have. I already knew that I was going to talk to you. And so I knew I was going to have to last and be, excited. So you just plan it out and you like figure out what your successful day is going to be. But I think that, when you're in situations, and work for me was challenging in a lot of ways. I mean, I absolutely loved what I did, but I worked with a bunch of strong, testosterone filled men most of the time. It's like when you look at Tom, I was working, telling them what to do. Tom Joyner, Roland Martin, Al Sharpton, Don Lemon. I mean, it just, it was just a ton of people.
Yeah.
And so you really just have to have this energy about you that's not going to allow, it's not going to allow it to affect you.
Just balance it.
You've got to, and you can't take it personally. So there would be days, where, Tom would, something would happen and Tom would, feel off. And then, obviously, it turns to the next person, which would be me. And if I took everything personally, I'd be in a corner somewhere shaking still, like just rocking back and forth. Yeah. I knew it wasn't about me. It was just about the situation and how he felt about the situation. And so I'd just be like, okay, Tom, and then just, you go do it. And then it goes away. You can't buy into the negativity, whoever it is, or the conflict, whatever it is. I mean, you always have to just kind of rise above it, or you will be miserable.
Yes, you definitely will. How are you able to prioritize your time, especially in the earlier years when you had your sons at a young, when they were younger? How was you ever able to manage being a mother and working hard at the same time?
I didn't. I'll be quite honest. I didn't. And that's one of the reasons I resigned from Tom, is because I realized like my kids were about to start high school and we hadn't spent all that much time together. I mean, I worked a lot and, we were in 122 cities. So we traveled a lot. And so I tell you, my kids, they did a great job of raising themselves to a certain degree, because they were staying, they would stay at home by themselves as soon as they were old enough to be responsible. We had support, but, I was just gone so much. And so it's been interesting. It's been interesting. And I could say that I have regrets, but what would be the point? There's certain things I look back on and I wish, maybe I had done some things differently. But I couldn't, people always like, well, how do you balance? Like, there is no balance. It's like there are months when I'm just totally focused on family. Like I just want to play with my dogs and I want to work in the garden, and work on autopilot. And I respect that and I go with that. But in the early years, I didn't have that.
Oh Lord.
I'll tell you, when we went to Jamaica one year, my family and I, it happened to be around my birthday, I think. We all went, and it was like everybody was there. And it just happened to be the time that Michael Jackson died. And we were sitting at dinner, and my dad said, what are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going back to work. And that's what I did. I went back to work. That's just how much how important it was to me.
Right.
But that's because I loved it. That's because it's so much a part of who I am. It wasn't like a job to me. It was who I was. And it is who I am. I mean, I still love it. I still love radio and talking to people all day and, talking about the important issues and sharing things and just hearing other people's stories. I mean, that's just who I am.
Yes. So what are you doing right now with the media as far as
So I teach people. I work mainly with entrepreneurs and influencers, and I have a variety of programs that can help people get media on their own. But then I also work one-on-one, helping people get media. I do a lot of media training and media consulting, which I love. And then I'm also still doing my own thing. I do freelance TV and radio, and I do these podcasts and have conversations with a lot of great people. So still got my hand in it.
That's good. So tell me about Easier Said Than Done. I watched that preview and it was like I wanted to watch more. Why isn't this a movie?
Actually, it's in the works. I was talking with my mom about that. That was my first fictional foray. So it's a novel, and I wrote it, the first version of it, probably maybe almost 20 years ago. And I updated it. I did a newer version recently. But that was just, it was just a lot of fun. It was a love story. It was a little bit of mystery. You get to experience Jamaica. I channeled my grandmother in a lot of it. It is not about me, unfortunately. There's a really, hot man in there, but I think that it exemplifies, how I feel about strong women in the workplace and trying to figure out life and balancing it. So it was a lot of fun to write.
Wow, because I was watching that, I'm looking like that's it. And I wanted to search for more, and I'm like, this is so good. So now you about to have me reading that book.
Well, you can. I will send you a copy. I will send you an autographed copy. You can send me that address.
Yes, and then I wanted to check out your other books. Can you tell me more about Shift and Shift On? Because it seemed like it's
shift on, shift happens.
Yeah, what inspires you to do that?
So it started out because I love to write. So, I've written 6 books. 3 of them are part of the Shift series, and those were done with other authors. So they're collaborations. And when I first started with my own business, it was all about the power of being an author and how being an author, really sets you up for credibility, sets you up for, extra revenue, all that kind of stuff. And so I was teaching that, and finally I had a coach, and she was like, you know what, you keep telling people how important it is to be an author. You show them how to do it. She was like, you should just do a collaboration, pick some people, put them in the book, and show them how easy it is, not just to write the book, but to market it and become a bestseller and then create extra revenue. And so that's what I did. And I did it, initially, and I can't even remember what the first subject matter was supposed to be about. But what happened was I got this group of phenomenal women, and they started sharing their stories. And a lot of it included, hardship and challenges and things that they had faced younger in my dogs are starting to get involved in the podcast. And just different struggles that they had, whether they were children or whatever, and growing up, and how that made them better businesswomen and better entrepreneurs and better mothers. And so, it went from this very clinical experience, just to show people that it was possible, to this really life-changing, motivational journey. And so, we called it Shift because everybody at one point or other has to make this shift in their life. And I think it was really important for us to show people that you can be successful even if you've gone through some things. And these ladies have gone through quite a bit, you know. And so that book was born, and then we had so much success with that book that it just, you know, people kept wanting to be in it. And so we did Shift On, and then Shift Happens. And so in those 3 books, I think I was able to make 60 people best-selling authors through those projects. So it was very fulfilling emotionally and spiritually, and it shows you that, you know, 20 Black women can get together and write a book and promote it and still be good. But it just proved my point that you know, the power of spoken word, written word, you know, just communication and how it really can impact people's lives.
Yes, especially when a woman is sharing her testimony, you can help another woman, because, you know, sometimes us as women, we think we're the only ones going through something or the only ones experienced it. So when they hear it, a voice of another woman, and make them think like, wow, if she can do it, I can.
Oh no, you nailed it. I mean, you nailed it. I think it is irresponsible of us not to tell our stories.
Yes.
Because, you know, we're only, as a community, as a family, as a people, as a race, we're only as sick as our secrets. And, you know, we hide things thinking, like you said, I'm the only one. And you know, when you start to open your mouth, I mean, if you look just at like sexual trauma and sexual assault and, you know, domestic violence, I mean, 80% probably. I mean, you can talk to a whole room full of women, and it is hard to find somebody that hasn't experienced it on some level or another, but we still feel like it's just us.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's so interesting that, you know, and there were a lot of stories I wouldn't tell. So I get it. And, you know, you don't want to be that vulnerable and that transparent, but I think it is irresponsible if you can show somebody that this can happen to you and you can still be successful. You can still be happy. You can still be in love. You can still raise children. Then I think it's irresponsible of you not to do it.
Yes. It's just like you just keeping on going throughout your day, but you still making things happen and finding your still happiness.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, people, and I think that the more public you are, the more that you should tell your story. I mean, people look at you like a lot of people don't know unless they listen to me all the time. You know, I was raped and left for dead in an alley when I was in college.
Wow.
So I've been, well, that was the most abusive relationship, but I've been through traumatic things. I've wanted to kill myself. Like after that, I mean, you know, it was like that summer after I came home after that happened. It's like if my mom called home and I didn't answer the phone, she was coming home to make sure I was still alive.
Right.
So it's like, but you look at the end result and you don't ever think that that's possible because of where somebody is or how happy they seem or how great marriage is. But people can go through a whole bunch of crap and God fixes it and shines it up and puts it back together.
Yes. And what did you do for yourself to even get through something so traumatizing like that? And even though you still going on with your career?
I think my dad, like, really is the one that made the difference. I mean, you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to get therapy. I think that as African American women, and I've got Jamaican in me too, and so it's like we feel we should just have to push through. That as long as we keep going and we don't think about it or we don't do the work, that we'll be fine. And that's just not. I mean, literally, I pushed through the year, and then I had like a complete meltdown. And so, you know, therapy is a blessing. Friends are a blessing, the support of my parents. But I think the thing that really made a difference for me was when my dad, you know, when I was at the very lowest, and my dad was like, you know what? He's like, this is going to kill you. He's like, you're going to let him kill you. He's like, either you are going to make a choice that you're going to do what you have to do to get better, and you're going to live your life, and you're going to, you know, make a liar out of him, or you're going to let him kill you. And every day, probably for, I would say, years, every day I had to make a choice.
Yes.
It's going to be a good, I was
you know, when we go through things, we can't let it define us. No. And even if we like let ourselves go, we're giving that other person too much power over our lives.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what my daddy was saying. I mean, he's like, you're gonna let him continue to do this to you every single day. But it's like interesting because I don't know. I don't think I let it define me. It doesn't make me who I am, but it has certainly contributed. So it's like everybody says, well, God, I wish that had never happened to you, or don't you wish that had never happened? And of course, like, before I would have said I never want this to happen.
Right.
But now it's like I almost don't know who I would be if it hadn't happened, because you have to really develop a strength and a resilience. And you can't, you just know that nothing will ever beat you. Like there's nothing that can be done to me now other than like somebody harming my children or family that would make me stop, that would make me think that I had lost, that would make me fail. Like there's nothing anybody can do to me. And so it's like, I'm sure I would have done something good. I might have still been a teacher. I don't know. I don't know who I would have been. And so I can't really say I wish it hadn't happened, because it's made me or contributed to who I am.
Do you find it that that's part of the reason why you worked a lot, or it was just because that's what you love to do, work a lot? Because sometimes, like me, myself, like if I'm going through something or I've been through something, my work ethics get even stronger. Like
when I go through something, like my OCD kicks in. No, I think I work a lot because I truly love it. Okay. Like it's not like a job to me. It's like I couldn't imagine not doing it. And I'm sure there will be a day when I'll be like, I just want to sit on a beach with a book, and drink a Mai Tai or something. But now is not that. I think I have a better ability to say, okay, you need to take a break. Don't work o'clock at night every day. Just take a break. But I love what I do. And no day is the same. So it's not like there's no, it doesn't get boring. Every day looks different. I get to talk to people every day, different people every day. And so it doesn't even feel like work. And that's what I wish for everybody. It's like I tell my kids that don't even think about the money.
Right.
Figure out what's going to make you happy every single day, because, honestly, if you're not happy, I don't care how much money you're going to make. It's just going to make you a really rich, miserable person.
Yes, extremely miserable.
I know a lot of miserable rich people.
Yeah, me too. So it's sad. Can you tell me a little bit about the Spotlight Conference?
So I started in Spotlight Conference. Obviously, we took a year off this year, but it was all about people that were ready to be in the spotlight. And it, mainly was focused on businesses, entrepreneurs, but you could have been it could be for anybody. It could be an expert. It's ready for, especially women who are ready to step up and say, yep, here I am. I'm ready to show you what I got. I've been hiding my light too long, and how that looks from a business perspective. So media training, your branding, marketing, sales, like all of those things that, you really need to build a business, and then put it out in the spotlight and really shine.
That's beautiful. So you just basically, you enjoy helping people enhance their brand and making sure they're meeting the needs that they always wanted to meet.
Yeah. I mean, and making money, it's
yes.
People, like media is great. Doing interviews is great, but if it doesn't impact your revenue somehow, you're just doing something else. But I just think that everybody's life is a message to the world. And so many of us think that, because I'm not a celebrity, or I don't have 100,000 followers on Twitter, or this or that nobody wants to hear from them. And that is so not true.
Yes.
Everybody is put on here for a specific reason. And, I think that they just cut themselves short. And now it's like, when I first started, even though it was still 24/7. I mean, if something happened, we had to go to work, but it wasn't like it is now. Now it is like this constant 24/7, news and content cycle. And so they're looking for people to be experts. They're looking for people to share stories. They're looking for people to do interviews. So now more than ever is the time to step into the spotlight.
Yes, it definitely is. I've been learning that myself, as far as getting out there and everything. And also what you were saying about like having not having a lot of followers and things of that nature, I've noticed people with less followers, I've been noticing that they have a bigger platform and more connections with people. It's like that's not their focus.
Well, they're focused on engagement. They're focused on finding their ideal client and nurturing that instead of what number comes up on the screen. And it's interesting because even when I was producing for Tom, I mean, we would look at people's social media and you could absolutely tell, like somebody would have 100,000 followers, but they were like getting 2 retweets. Like, those people don't care. Think about what you're talking about. I mean, it's just like, it's ridiculous. It's like, why even waste the time? And it's so easy, to spot. So even with Tom, I mean, we want, and in the media in general, I mean, they want people that have, that are active on social media, that are talking about what their expertise is, but they want that organic, engaged following. They don't want people because they have just a lot of people on their social media. It's too easy to tell that, they're fake followers. And so I always say, like you, I mean, don't focus on the number, focus on nurturing and engaging and really feeding that community because, a viable business, I mean, most of them only need about 50 clients, 50 customers, some of them, depending on what your price point is. It's a world. You just need those, few and faithful followers that are going to actually purchase your services and engage with you on social media.
Yes. And on a daily basis, I just usually just make sure I just speak realistic things. I love being organic to people and help them with their brands also, and even just their personal life, because it's just so important for us to live our dreams, and just because life is short, we just got to make sure we, just do what we want to do in our lives.
No, absolutely. And I think that people don't realize that a lot of people don't have, I realized that a lot of people weren't raised like me. You know what I mean? Like I had, I was the bomb every single day, right? Still, I had a big sister who, still is like my cheerleader and tells me I'm amazing all the time. And a lot of people don't have that. And so when I run into, when I take interns or apprentices with the business, it's like, that for me is my time to pour into them what was poured into me. And it's so interesting. Like people, I have this one intern and it's like, I had to tell her, it's like, I'm going to push you because I believe in you and I want you to grow and I want you to own that you are amazing. And if I didn't push you, I wouldn't care. But we all get pushed at some point in our life. So like my dad told me I was the bomb, but let me bring home a beat, right? We'll be shut down. So we have to be uncomfortable. We have to experience that to grow. And I think that so many young people now just don't get that. And so for us who are now at, certain points in our lives, it's really our responsibility to give that to them if we can.
Yes, definitely. What are some other services that you provide?
So we have a ton of just programs and trainings that really teach you how to get the media for your business, how to leverage media to generate more revenue. I also do the one-on-one, services for people who want to be pitched directly to the media. But we do everything from like writing press releases to putting together media kits. But my website is www.nikkywoodsmedia.com, and you can check all that stuff out.
Yes, definitely. And I actually have that on here.
So you put the click thing over there, aren't you, with the mouse? That's good. Thank you.
Yes, you are very welcome.
So tell me, I want to know about you a little bit before we go, because you interview everybody and you put them in the spotlight. What about you? You said that you talk to people about branding and being realistic. What do you think is the most important thing that you want to share with your community?
A difference. I want to see a community that find their purpose in life. It's a lot of people that's just at a standstill, and it's not even their fault that they're at a standstill to a certain extent. It's just a lot of people are raised differently, as you were saying, and they don't know the way. They don't know the path. So with me having this platform and I could have other individuals coming on here and sharing their life testimonies, sharing the things that services they provide, they can reach out to these people so they can figure out what do they want to do. But however, you do have to pay people to get the services that you want, and they're going to bring it to the table at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a good balance, because obviously we have to, got to feed our children and pay our bills, and so everything isn't free. But I think that there's also the decision, because I do a lot of stuff for people that they should pay me for. I mean, quite frankly. Right. But it's just kind of an exchange of energy. I mean, people are books for me that I probably should have paid them for too. But I just think that sometimes when you have a certain gift, that sometimes you just need to give it away.
Yeah. And I've been giving and giving so much. Is I like my blessings that God gives me in return, and He really comes through all the time unexpectedly, because I have a youth program for young girls, and I've spent $500,000 of my own money just providing services for them, feeding them, clothing them, just doing so much, taking them out on vacations to see another world, as far as not them just being on their side of the town in the inner city. So I just give them the
organization.
Huh?
What's the name of the organization?
It's called Fidea Young Women's Program.
That's awesome.
Yes, and I love it. I've been doing it. It actually been 8 years today. Now that I really think about it.
Good. That's awesome.
Yes, it's been 8 years today, and I just love it. Just seeing the outcome of my girls, how much they've grown. Even when I install so many things into them, I may not see it then, but I see it now as they get older. Like half of them, they're like 23 years old now.
I always say, you wait till they start putting pictures of you on Instagram when they're like 6 and they're like 26 now. Like, y'all gotta stop it. Just stop it. I get it all the time. It's like I'll be pregnant in pictures, and I'm just like, really, people?
Yeah.
It is a blessing, and it's amazing to me, because you do what you do and you don't really think about it.
No.
But, sometimes they'll come back and be like, oh my God, they'll tell you what a difference you made in your life, and you're just like, that was just a Tuesday. Like, that's just what I do. But you really are impacting. And if you think about just the octopus effect, right? It's like you're going to impact somebody, and then they're going to impact somebody. And it's whole little, that's awesome.
Yes. I love every moment of it. I even have some of my girls, I have a learning center, and now that they're older, they're over 18, they work at my learning center. Some of them work during their break from college. Some of them work there throughout the year and still go to college at home. So it just feels good that I could provide jobs for them. I can help my parents in so many ways, because 95% of the students in my learning center are state funded for my child care services. So it's just good to be able to just pour into the community constantly and daily, and knowing when that time comes, they know they could come to me and I'll be able to help them, being passionate and genuine about it.
No, that's amazing. That job well done. That's amazing.
Thank you. I love it. And that's why I'm just like to pour into women and just let women just utilize this platform. My mom wanted me to raise it as far as women, and communicating with them and letting them know that they are beautiful, they are amazing, they do have a purpose in life. You don't have to be in the same position as you were in last year. You just have to find a way. So when I have a platform like this and able to share so much, they have no choice but to win, because we all gonna get it together.
Get it together. That's exactly right. If I eat, everybody gonna eat.
Yeah.
Right. Very good.
Yes. That's awkward, because you really just interviewed me.
I did, didn't I? I did. Because I know people don't ask you that a lot.
No,
and I know I
no.
can tell just from looking at you that you got a lot going on over there. And
Yes,
so
it's
obviously,
actually my mom right here.
oh, then tell me that. That's nice.
Yeah, if I just put her on there, just
That's
represent her, let her know she did her thing with me.
She did her thing with you. Yes, she did. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you.
I did. Same here. And I look forward to getting to know you better. And if I can support you in any way and or with what you're doing, just let me know.
Yes, I'm going to need your help with this new media stuff for me.
I got you, girl. I got you.
Oh, thank you. Make
You're
sure you
welcome.
have a good night.
You too. Thank you. It was lovely talking to you.
Love you talking to you too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.